Waiting for more players to join. So we're up against kdrakari, kdrakari, for round 3 here. I won the die roll. Nice. Let's see here. Let's actually pay attention to our hand this time as opposed to last game. There we go. Yeah, that looks fine. We're going to keep that. Lands and spells, you know, your typical. So we'll start off with the Sandstone Bridge. Yeah, we don't get the +1/+1 anything, but not a big deal. We want to be able to use the mana later on. Let's stop stopping on our upkeep here. Check mark. Okay, cool. Turn 2, same kind of deal. We'll just go ahead and pass. We're going to go ahead and cycle Renewed Faith. We got 2 Wraths left, just in case. Afraid that we might be playing Drago. I'm actually quite concerned. That's when I see blue-red, that's what I've been seeing lately. It's not even really counter burn. It's got a couple burn spells, but for the most part, it's the red's really for different elements. Here we go. Okay, so in case we are playing Drago, let's see if we can get a Terra Eternal down. They usually let me play it because they don't know what I'm doing with it. And there aren't many 2-mana counterspells anyway. Negate's really the big one you fear, especially in this deck where I play a lot of non-creature spells. There's actually 2 of these Anticipate cards. There's one for 1 mana that's Portent, actually, but you draw the card at the beginning of your next upkeep. Most people like Anticipate better because they can kind of hunt for lands. But I don't know. I feel like Portent actually is better in a lot of situations just because it is only the 1 mana as opposed to 2. Is relevant a lot of the time, especially when you need to keep your mana open for counter spells. Okay, drawing more Wraths and saying go. Here we are. Go ahead and put down a Plains. I'm trying to keep the Urza's Factory in my hand just to kind of make it so he doesn't know what I'm doing yet. Although I'm sure he has an idea that the deck that has played land and said go about 6 times now is that's probably the game plan. We'll turn on the Urza's Factory here. I doubt we'll have much use for this Encircling Fissure. The problem with Encircling Fissure is that he does have a bunch of burn spells, but if I can keep this Terra Eternal alive, then it's actually worth it for me to go ahead and cast with Awaken right now. Because he hasn't played a creature yet. 4, 5. So if he is playing counter spells, he's probably going to start about now, because he actually can't afford for me to have a bear. Just from an indestructible bear. And I gotta imagine that's the deck he's playing. He hasn't done anything yet. So, okay, so yeah, Counterflux. What's interesting is a lot of people are playing blue-red because they were fearing Storm from last season, and there really hasn't been any Storm this season. One, two, three, four. Okay, so tapping that just cause. Cool, no problem. Fire and Ice is also really huge. It's kind of the go-to card in this whole archetype. We'll go ahead and play the Sandstone Bridge again. Not getting any vigilance out of it, but we need to keep on playing lands here. This is really where you hit a disadvantage with this deck. When you face something like this and you get 4 Wrath of Gods stacked up in your hand, it's not fun times. Plus, you know, I don't play that many spells, so it's very easy for him to counter him. Terra Eternal is really the big deal, and a lot of times I'll get away with it the first game, but usually after that they realize, like, oh crap, I need to get rid of that because he has a whole bunch of lands that I can't counter. Speaking of a whole bunch of lands, let's go get one. Here we go, and I should have played it, but that's okay. Keep it in hand for now. when I play against Control, I'm really focused on trying to go as fast as possible, and it makes me misplay a lot. It's something I'm still really getting used to in the Magic Online world, where you're really worried about that counter. How much time do I have? How much have I used? And Drago, honestly, the majority of their decisions are like, what do I do? Do I cast Factor Fiction right now? Like, that's the majority of their stuff. But we'll see how well this works. Urza's Factory I put in specifically for this deck, literally right before this tournament. So hopefully that's going to help out a lot. So he already has quite a few lands here, so we're going to go just the spell or land split. A lot of times they'll still take the 4 cards. He'd be able to play a land this turn. He might be able to play a spell. It's really, really important for Drago to just have as much mana as possible. Then again, another second Factor Fiction is hard to say no to. He didn't. He's going to cast a spell. What? Oh, Treasure Cruise. Okay. So he's just drawing more cards. Treasure Cruise in this blue-red, if you play blue-red spells, Treasure Cruise is basically Ancestral Recall almost every single time you play it. There's the only reason it's in this format at all is because it's been banned in other formats. So we're going to go ahead and start kicking out some tokens here. Because he can't counter those. There we go. Card of Fire and Ice. Discard. Mizium Mortars. Okay, so he does have burn spells. That's important to know. For right now, though, you know, I'm just going to kind of say, hey, ball's in your court, man. I'm going to keep on making assembly workers. The real nice thing, though, is that if he ever does play a creature, okay, so we got Burn Spell and Counterflux. So we'll go Counterflux over here with a Mystic Monastery, and then let him have... He'll probably take the Searing Spear and the Highland Lake and Island, would be my guess. See? Can't scroll through his grave for some reason. No, he didn't take the Searing Spear. Okay. He wanted the Counterflux. So I could cycle Renewed Faith here. Way more important to just start churning out assembly workers. That's what's going to win us this game. He might have Amizium Mortars to get rid of them all, but that only solves the problem for one turn. That's really why I was surprised that he took the Counterflux. He has to know at this point that I'm perfectly happy to just sit here and make assembly workers. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's fine. No problem. We'll make another one. So at least Searing Spear would have been kind of a, fog for a turn. But Counterflux probably isn't going to do him any good, honestly. Go. Assembly worker will come over. And we'll cycle Renewed Faith and activate Stalking Stones this time through. He might kill the Stalking Stones, and that's kind of bad for us. But as long as I still have Urza's Factory mana, I don't care. Okay, so his first creature, Sphinx of Dwar Isle. I'm gonna let it sit. Normally, it's bad for most decks because it's got the Shroud. But for us, it's honestly not a huge deal. Cycle Renewed Faith. Yes, I would like to gain 2 life. Okay, we got another Stalking Stones, and then let's activate this Stalking Stones. 6. Okay, and then we'll untap. And come over with our indestructible army. Okay, we don't really care that he blocked Assembly Worker. I guess I could have held it back and all that, but honestly, not that big a deal. So we can Wrath here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got 3 mana, and we know he has the counter spell. So honestly, I'm not gonna. We can take 5 in the air. We've been gaining quite a bit of life, and then we'll activate a second Stalking Stones. He's eventually gonna have to deal with the fact that I'm making 2 2s and 3 3s every turn. He's gonna draw through his whole deck here if he's not careful. he's, I've I've got 40 and I've cycled a couple times, and he's already down to 22. So let's make the Stalking Stones. 4, 5, 6. We go, and then we've only got 2 left over. We don't have anything to cycle with. Haven't seen a dragon yet, unfortunately. Eternal Dragon is also another good path to win against these, because you can get to the point where you can just play it every single turn, and that gets bad for your opponent very quickly, even if they draw their whole deck. But we'll come over for 6, and then I think he has to start playing defense at that point, because 3/3 indestructible dudes are a problem. Alright, so you can recast a whole bunch of stuff with this. Elixir Immortality is kind of a big deal as well. Let's just go land and spells. He'll probably take the Nivix, because it really is good for him at this point. But we're fine. No, he still wants spells. Okay. I was really thinking Nivix would be bad. I guess he's worried about decking himself. But Factor Fiction chews through your deck really fast. He's down to 16 cards already. And more importantly, we're in the control mirror, and I'm winning the time war. So he's not going to deck himself because he has Elixir of Immortality. That's also going to gain him 5 life, which is a big deal as well. But he still hasn't really solved the root of the problem yet. The double Stalking Stones is definitely an issue. But if he can delay long enough, he will come over the top with this Sphinx and kill me, for sure. I'm not sure what we're waiting on here. Maybe our opponent had an AFK moment there. Okay, he was thinking about tapping stuff. Like I said, if he delays long enough, we might actually die to the Sphinx here. We have a lot of Wraths, but he has a lot of counterspells. I don't have enough mana to cast 2 Wraths at once yet. But let's go ahead and swing over for 5 here. Still winning the damage race at this point. Yeah, I keep on thinking maybe I can cast a Wrath this turn. I really don't think I can afford to. I mean, he's got the counterspell. We know he does. it really doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do anywhere near as good as just churning out assembly workers. Urza's Factory. I think it's interesting that this has a land subtype of Urza's. It's not part of Urzatron, so I'm a little confused as to why that is. Okay, so he's gonna dink off a random assembly worker there, which we're okay with. He's still coming over, so he's got to have some kind of answer. I don't know if he's going to be able to fire ice for the rest of the game, but maybe. What we're really hoping for right now is renewed faith, actually. That gives us another turn. So let's make another assembly worker here. We're almost to the point where we can do Forbidding Watchtower to come over as well, which would be pretty neat. Okay, so he's not even going to let that one live. But he's at 7, so if he doesn't have a blocker here, I can just come over with Forbidding Watchtower. So let's do that. And if he playing the long game and he saw it, then that's great. But I don't think he can kill a Forbidding. I know he can't kill it; it's indestructible. But yeah, I think he just didn't realize I had it, or didn't have an answer to it, and was hoping I didn't realize. One of the two. Yep. Okay. So there we go. That was actually a really close game one. That Sphinx of Dwar Isle really kind of could have been bad for us. We're gonna throw in some Emboldens and some Scrabbling Claws. The reason for the Emboldens is because, let's see here, I'm gonna cut down on the general population of Wrath of Gods here. We don't want to get rid of them entirely because they are wary to kill Sphinx of Dwar Isle, but not too concerned with them either. I didn't see anything for for Seal Cleansing. We want that 4th Terra Eternal as well. So let's see, we got 2 more cards to cut. We'll get Wing Shards as kind of a cheap way to kill here. Wall of Resurgence we don't want because he can actually burn away the creatures, the land creatures it makes. So we'll put in another couple Scrabbling Claws here. And the reason we're doing Scrabbling Claws is you saw he was playing Elixir of Immortality. If you can get to the point with Scrabbling Claws that you can cut him down to just a bare minimum of cards in his graveyard, then he doesn't have very many in his deck either. And if you're strategic about it, you can kind of make it so that he only has things that draw him more cards in his deck as well. And then Elixir of Immortality, which is still bad for us. If he draws and plays Elixir every turn, that's not great. But we might be able to avoid it as well. And if nothing else, it's kind of cycling without cycling, and it's a cheap thing I can cast that probably won't get countered. We have to mulligan this no land hand. We can keep this one, though. So we put Embolden in here, really because of its flashback more than anything else. I don't particularly want one early, though. What I'm trying to do is get a whole bunch of cheaper spells in, so that if we do get into a situation where... Wait, why? Okay, did he not cast anything? Oh, apparently our opponent... That sucks. So apparently he meant to mulligan and doesn't have any lands in his hand at all. That's extremely unfortunate. That's not the way you want to win. If it was first game, I'd just be like, hey, let's start over. But with it being second game, you can't really do that. That sucks. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep on pressing forward here. Play a Scrabbling Claws. If he does have a chance against the deck, it's probably against mine because I'm not gonna play a creature until like turn 7. So if he does start drawing lands, which hopefully he does, then he might actually have some chance here. Okay, so we'll do New Benalia and Scry. We're fine with another land on top here. We finally got a land here. We're gonna start him exiling cards from his graveyard just cause. Here we go. Another Forbidding Watchtower. So we got 3 lands here with an Encircling Fissure and a Wing Shards. Not a huge deal. We could have swung with the Forbidding Watchtower there, and we should have. That's my bad. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and cycle as well. I got so focused on my opponent not having any lands that I made more than a couple misplays there, actually. So let's see if we can get our head back in the game here. Not that it's too concerning, he only has 1 land. Okay, there we go. Got a Stalking Stones as well here at 5 mana. So we'll go ahead and come over Forbidding Watchtower. It'll be a long, slow death at this rate. And we're going to start cycling these Scrabbling Claws. Go, and we now have Eternal Dragon mana. We do not. We're 1 short. I've done the math a little better than that. That's okay though. We'll leave everything open this turn, and Stalking Stones will become a creature. And hopefully we'll have mana for next turn. Although it would be kind of hilarious if he gets counter mana up just in time for Eternal Dragon to get countered. He might be in a depressed enough state. I think I might be in a depressed enough state at this point that I might not do it. Okay, so let's just make him a creature now. Here we go. Which might be a bad idea. He might be able to Searing Spirit. We don't have Terra Eternal this game. So. Making lands early against people with burn spells is typically a poor idea. Okay, so let's come over with Stalking Stones. See if he does have that Searing Spear. Nope. Okay, and then after combat, we're just gonna let it lie. We've got Renewed Faith to cycle here so we can try and get that next land. And then if that doesn't work, we'll go ahead and ditch the dragon and then get him back. Let's go ahead and ditch the dragon. Okay, and then we stop on our next upkeep because we're gonna wanna play that guy. Go, and we did draw out a Terra Eternal, so we'll try and throw that out as well. I think we're gonna try the dragon first. It'll probably get countered. I can't imagine that he's been sitting the whole game with counter spells in his hand, not being able to counter a dragon. He's gonna do that. But we also care less about the dragon getting countered, so. Real hard about it. Okay. This is what we're pretty much going to do from this point on. Although I'm really hoping to get one more land out of it, so I might actually cycle the dragon this next time around. Let's have him exile fast. Okay, so upkeep. Let's go ahead and bring the dragon back. Go. Draw a card for the turn. We did not draw a land, unfortunately. We do have cycling mana, although it's more important that I just start swinging at the opponent's face at this point. We're really hoping to draw that next land. That way I can keep on attacking with Stalking Stones and keep on trying to cast Eternal Dragon at the same time. He's starting to draw cards now. So really, the most relevant card at this point is, I believe, this Starstorm. He does have enough mana that he can kill the Stalking Stones with it. So we're actually going to go 4 and 1. He'll probably take the 4. Yeah. He jumped on that because he saw the gain 5 life elixir of immortality in there. Either that or he already had another Starstorm. We'll discard a Terra Eternal and an Embolden. Okay, so he's going to gain the 5 life, and he gets the lands as well. Okay, nothing during the upkeep. Got an Encircling Fissure. Let's go ahead and attack with Stalking Stones real fast. Go, and we're going to try and play a Terra Eternal as well. Okay with that. Let's play a second one. How much he really cares about this. Okay, so he'll just sack the Elixir of Immortality instead. Now we have an Indestructible Stalking Stones. Okay, let's go ahead and swing in with Stalking Stones then. We could be swinging with these Forbidding Watchtowers, but the mana is more important to me right now. I want to be able to cycle this Eternal Dragon is the big thing, and we have other stuff open. I guess, really, I should be swinging with him, because this Encircling Fissure is only combat. But I can still cast it and try and get more guys. We will try for this turn. What, Kitty? Okay, and we'll go ahead and try and cast an Encircling Fissure as well. And we're more than ecstatic if this gets a counterspell, because that means I can try and cast Eternal Dragon next turn. Buy it back? No, he's just gonna cast it, which means he's got more. Of course. Go. Another land. Awesome. Don't get the land. Let's start coming over with Forbidding Watchtowers here. Okay. So we're only getting 2 instead of 5 this turn, but that's okay. Sphinx? No, it's Treasure Cruise. Can't even respond. That sucks. That's alright though, we'll Grappling Claws away the Treasure Cruise here. And we got a land. Awesome. Okay, so we know he's got counter spells. We're still just going to stick with this Forbidding Watchtower plan here. Alright, and then hopefully next turn we've got him. Unless he's got something real crazy up his sleeve here. Okay, digging. Kind of wondering what he's hunting for here. He'd have to play 2 creatures to have enough blockers to live. Okay, so Elixir. That makes sense. Yeah, that'll help him survive for a minute here. And we're going to cycle Scrabbling Claws real fast. See if I can get him to tap some mana. Nope, okay. Nothing during the upkeep. We'll play another Stalking Stones. We'll have Summoning Sickness if we go this turn with it. Let's just stick with the Forbidding Watchtower plan. Real close to being able to get another one here. So mana intensive. So yeah, I actually just took Dread Statuary, which was you pay 4 mana and you get a 4/2 for until the end of turn man land. I took that one out just recently. Get rid of the Eternal Dragon here. I took it out just recently to put in the Urza's Factories that I wanted for this mirror, for this control mirror. It's worked out really well because what I've kept on finding with Dread Statuary is that 4 mana to activate it plus the actual land itself. I mean, 5 mana basically. It was just way too much. So we don't honestly care much about any of these cards. Go that way. think he took the 3 cards just to kind of take the 3 cards at that. He does have a burn spell, which if we ever got rid of Terra Eternal would be... Okay, so he wanted to dig with his arm. I'm wondering if his plan right now is to just keep on digging for Elixir for Immortality every turn until he can stabilize. If he's really got that much draw, that'd be impressive. Another Fact or Fiction, and he doesn't have any. Wow, okay. Okay, so we got a little bit of a rage quit there at the end, which I mean, that whole game was probably insufferable for him, so that's not too surprising. That was round 3 of our Sunday our Sunday Penny Dreadful tournament. Hope you guys stick around for round 4 here.